Alright, today's video is going to be on how to fully disassemble and, if we have time, fully reassemble this wringer washer head. Figure out why it doesn't work. I mean, it only has one direction. This one also only has one direction. I did a video on just this part last time, but that was not overly complete. I want this one to be more complete. So, let's get to it. Start by resetting that. Release it, if it will release. There we go. Now, I'll show you. On one side, there's a pin. On the other, there's no pin. You see that little pin right there? You gotta pull that pin out. There's no pin on this side. So, gotta pull that pin out, which is pretty simple. Just show you here. Grab a pair of needle nose pliers. Well, let's try a punch. There we go. Little punch. Get you your little pin out. Set that somewhere where you ain't gonna lose it. Now, I ain't gonna disassemble this portion yet. Probably wait for another video on that. Damn bugs. That can wait. Now, we can just grab this bottom roller and theoretically pull up a little bit and pull out a little bit, and it'll pull out. Now I'll put this back in, and I will grab the phone, show you how this works. Oopsies. There we go. Little sucker. Okay. So on this side, it just sits in there. Yes, they are often very filthy. This side is splined. Splined into that shaft. Now, one thing we will need is a specialty tool. I made mine pretty easy. This one will turn the shaft inside this tube. It'll turn the shaft, and I also made it to remove the shaft. That's why it's kind of slotted. But, sorry, off topic temporarily. This is difficult to do with only one hand. Might not be the best idea, because that's not mounted in any way. It's just sitting there. Just work with it a little bit, it'll come out. Then you can see how that is. It's kind of a splined shaft. Now this thing, make sure you can see what I'm doing. Yes, okay. This thing should pull off. Not that easy, but it should pull off. And there will be few different things inside. There are going to be two different little plastic bushing deals. There we go. Okay, we have a spring. We have a little plunger. We have two little plastic bushings. We have our clip, and we have our bushing. We have our main bearing deal. That can all get set aside. Now, we have to get these two bolts out. So that means taking this off, this little deal, which is somewhat fun, I guess you could say. Set the head down, grab a 7/8 socket, and whatever you have to drive it. I'm using an impact because I have one. You don't need an impact. It's not real tight. But these are spring loaded. So just be aware of that. These nuts are also special shaped. That crown goes towards the spring. Kind of just centers it. Oh, that's a pretty large spider egg nest. That's how that, you can see the crown of that nut kind of just centers it into the spring there. What kind of spider is that? That's a jumping spider. Hey, look at it. Cute little jumping spider. Protecting her nest. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to let her go with her nest somewhere protected. Alright, I have successfully removed the spider and her egg sac. So, the next step is to remove the other bolt in here. I'll show you what these look like real quick too. That's what it looks like. There are two over here and two over here. I already took this one off, obviously. Take this other one off. These can be fun to get back on because the spring tension goes past the bolt. You'll see what I mean when you get to it. So now this top piece can pull off. There are going to be a couple of rubber washers. Both of them came off with it this time. Rubber or paper or something like that anyways. Set those aside. Now, on some of these, they have like a 16 point, I don't know what size, I'm going to guess 1/2 inch bolt head for the top two. And then they have a 6 point 1/2 inch drive head for the bottom three. On some, they have the 16 point or whatever the hell it is as all 5 bolts. We're going to set this roller aside somewhere. There we go. Now this one has 3 6-point versions on the bottom. So that's out, obviously. These are not really impact accessible unless you want to take the time to find a swivel and extension and socket and all that jazz. So I'm just scratching them out. Then, for the top two, this may or may not be the or a correct way. But for the top two, wrong drawer, I like to grab my Tecton pliers. They don't have to be Tecton. Just these are my best pliers. Grab these splined bolt heads, break them loose with my pliers. I ain't stripped one out yet, and I don't have a socket to fit these bolts. Well, I guess I kind of do. It's called a bolt extractor. You see that? Yeah. Genius design. Thanks, Maytag. Probably so that you had to buy their specialty tool. Now, get our wacko mallet. Yummy. Should have put a towel under that, but I didn't. The last one had completely congealed grease, so yeah. Well, we have our crown gear here, our driven crown gear. Oh, come on, really? Focus. Sorry about that. Grab paper towel. Yummy. This is not in the greatest condition, but it's not in the worst condition either. Ooh, what the heck? That don't look great. That looks bad. That looks very bad. Okay, this is gonna sit in my drain pan for a while. We will come back to this video later after that's drained out. Alright, so it's been sitting in the drain pan for a minute, got most of the grease out, I think. Yummy. So now, the next step will be to open up the vise. A little bit bigger than you need. Then get an old rag or hoodie, something. Something to protect your wringer head gearbox. It don't need to be tight, just snug, you know. Now, inside here, I'm going to grab my tool. We will slip it inside, turn it until it catches. We will use it to turn this. Now, in this, there are 3 holes. Here's one. There's 2. That has a cog in it. And there's 3. So, turn that hole back a little ways. And then we will find... We will find a punch that is suitable for the job. We will put it in that hole. We want to make sure that it is at as much of an angle as possible, like so. Either way, it don't matter. It can be over that way or it can be over this way. I'm just going to work with it over this way, just because it's easier for me in this position. Punch that pin out. It should pop right out. Then we will reach in there with the magnet. Grab that pin. That's what it looks like before it's cleaned up. Where the hell did yummy. You could wear gloves in this, but it's usually just more of a pain in the ass than it is anything else. So I don't wear gloves with most of this shit. They end up tearing through and your hands end up getting greasy anyways. So now you remember how this tool, I had slotted those 2 ends, those 2 slots. I had slotted them sideways. Well, now I can make a left-hand turn and start pulling. It don't work the greatest. I need to modify it a little bit, but with as few times that I'm going to be using this, I don't really see a need. It's far enough out. It's just going to be easier to grab with pliers now. But while it's clear up in there, you can't grab it with pliers. We have our shaft. Then let's clean the tool off. Set it square. Set our paper towel down. I'm going to grab another one so it's handy. Hey, just a quick tip with most shop towels. Stretch them out. They'll stretch one way. They won't stretch the other. Stretch them out that one way and oh, they work so much nicer. So I already see a problem with this. I already saw a problem before we put in the vise. I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is, but we're going to tear it apart so you can see. reach in there. You should be able to just pull it out. It should just pull out. This one's being a cantankerous little there we go. Finagle with it a little bit. It'll come out. We have our gear assembly here. It's spring loaded. We don't want to let shit go flying. Set that there. I said you can't be afraid to get your hands greasy. That's what I mean. Wipe most of this slime off. Then I have this little parts container filled with gasoline, just a Miracle Whip container, mayo jar, whatever. So we have, let me clean one hand off so I can move my phone. There we go. Close enough. Now, let's see. Where can I set this? How about right here? There we go. So right here we have something not right on this side. So we should have a gear. We're going to drop that in our parts can. Followed by what this used to be. This is junk. That's foobar. Then we should have a spring. Then we should have another one of these. This one's not junk. It should be replaced, but it's not junk. Then we should have a shim. Just a thin steel shim. Same on the other side. It should be the same on both sides. So you see that cap now. Here's that shim. There should be a cap on both ends of the spring. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Yes, you can. Okay. There should be a cap on both ends of the spring. Pull them off, drop them in there, drop that in there, drop this in there. Then we should have a little come on, focus. Anyways, it's a little T-shaped piece of steel. Then a collar and another collar. Now, clean my hands off a bit. Put the lid on this. Gasoline works really, really well as a parts solvent. Just shake it up a minute. You're going to throw that out. You're going to throw that out. shake it up for a minute. You can still buy all new parts for these things. They still make them. Now let's grab our magnet. Start fishing. One spring. One collar. One gear. One more spring. One more gear. One more collar. A shim and that steel piece. That little steel T. I should have another shim. Where are you? Junk, debris, and steel shavings that we don't want. There's a cap. Another cap. One more cap. Where's our other shim? Lost all my shims. Gotta be somewhere. There's one shim. There it is. It was hiding on a gear. These gears are directional as well. If you did not know that before, you do now. Well, I don't think it's the gears themselves that are directional, but the inserts in the gears. Let's clean these up. I'm going to pause the video until this is all cleaned off, and then I will show you the rest. Okay, because this video is already almost a half hour long, I don't think I'm going to show reassembly on this one. Especially since I already have a reassembly video. But for these things, there's a little spring here. All you gotta do is grab it and it pulls out. This is what makes it directional, this piece right here. Because that side's kind of flattened. This end is not. And this end, I'll show you how this works. In this collar, we have a slot. Okay, you see that slot? You remember the 3 holes? 1, 2, and 3. Remember I said there was a little cog in the middle one? That's what this piece here is. This is that T-shaped piece. Come on, focus. You piece of garbage. Anyways, this T-shaped piece it goes inside here. Helps if you put the outer collar on first. Okay, you see that? Okay, now let's get our shaft. I'm going to turn this like so, let it sit there. Let's get our shaft, our drive shaft. We'll stick it through like so. Now, nothing can go anywhere. Nothing can fall out. Now this is turning clockwise, like so. Okay, it's turning clockwise. And this shaft has a pin going through it with this color, and so these turn as one, if you can imagine that. Let me take my punch, clean it up. This is gonna be kind of, I guess this is kind of obvious already, but this is more of a how it works video than how the hell do you get it apart. I mean, it can be either, you know. Okay, where is the hole? There it is. Okay, we're just going to put our punch in there as a pin for now because I don't want to drive that pin in. So this is turning clockwise. Just a second. Clean this out. Clean this out. These springs should be replaced, but I don't think that's going to happen right now. Ah, farting wasps. Where are you, you little sucker? There we go. Carb cleaner takes care of them real well. Oopsies. So now, we'll take our spring, determine which side is the flat side. Obviously, this side. It's the more flat of the two. And it just twists in. And it goes up top, like so. And it'll free spin. However, I cannot move this color with my punch in there. So, we move this collar upwards just a little bit. Listen. You saw it? That little end of the spring right here, it catches on that T inside. You see? It catches on that. That comes up above the stopper in the middle. And it catches on that, and that is what puts it into gear. These caps, now that I've got them cleaned off, I'll show you why this other one is bad. Look at that. That used to be like that. So these caps, one goes here, and we get a spring, and we get another cap, we get a shim, And it goes on like that. Okay, that's how that goes together. Pretty simple. There's nothing overly complex to these things. They are not the easiest to work on, but parts are relatively cheap. They're not the hardest to work on by any means. And you can still buy parts brand new. The washer that this goes to is from 1948. And it just took a crap recently. This component just took a crap recently. Now, to get this back together, I don't think I showed the shift forks very well in the other video. So we'll poke around in here a minute. These are the shift forks. There are two of them. And they go up like that. And the gears, that gear set, goes on these shift forks. Okay? Pretty simple. I know you can't see it real well in there. But to give you a better idea of how this all goes together again, take our shim. We'll skip the cap on this side. That way you can just, kind of like that. And of course that little T piece is trying to make an escape run. There we go. There should be a cap on both ends of each spring. Now the shift fork, let's say there's a cap right here, like there should be. The shift fork, if you can see this little shim, goes between this shim and the cap. There's nothing that goes between the cap and the gear. Then your little pin, your main pin that holds this together, just drops through there. You gotta punch it in, but it ain't too hard. But you can buy these brand new. I believe these are called extra cams. But that's how that goes together. Then it just drops in. Yet the easiest way to do it is to assemble it on the shaft like so. Just take the shaft out, hold this like so, and drop it in. And put some heavy grease in here with that little sucker, with that little cog, that little T-shaped piece, or you will have some fun getting it all together, because that thing likes to go exploring. Ah, damn these wasps. There we go. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today. This video is already 40 minutes long, so that's that. Reassembly is just the complete opposite. If you get it together, or when you get it together, don't fully assemble it. Just get this unit together with that inside. That and the shaft and blah, blah, blah. Okay, just get that together, put it on the wringer washer, turn it on, see if it works. Because if it does not, if you cannot get both of these gears to spin, only one should spin at a time. The other should freewheel. But if you cannot get both of these to spin individually, you got to take it apart and you got to flip them around. Because if you can't get them to spin, that means you got these backwards. They are directional.
Remember that little spring in there, that one that goes inside the gear. That's directional. If you get it backwards, it'll just slip and slip and slip and slip. It'll never catch, it'll never do anything. So that's why I suggest assembling this unit alone until you get it right. When you get it right, then you can finish reassembly, and it's all just the exact opposite of taking it apart. Getting these springs compressed isn't too hard. I can compress them by hand. Just the way I did it is I got my socket and I found something else. I think it was another socket that fit inside there. And I got the nut. I've got to where the nut was just sitting up at the top. Like so. I could push against it using the socket. And that worked absolutely wonderfully for my last one. So we're already at over 40 minutes. I'm going to call this good for this video. I have another reassembly video if you need it. That's that for today. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped you. Hope you can enjoy it.